Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of our special series on amplifying growth, achieving impact. I'm Pallavi from People Matters. Through exciting conversations with industry leaders in partnership with upGrad for Business, we unlock strategic, future-ready insights to steer organizations in a rapidly evolving world of work. Our prime focus will be on three major themes: role transformation, reducing skill obsolescence, and driving employee engagement, each of which is a critical action area for businesses ready to transform, innovate, and grow with high impact talent to empower businesses to lead in the future of work. The expert insights gathered in our interactions with industry leaders will then be captured into an ebook titled How Do We Empower Organizations to Thrive in the New Age Economy? In today's conversation, we'll talk about reducing skills obsolescence and the investments that growing enterprises need to make in learner experience platforms as they roll out virtual L&D opportunities to thousands of their workforce. Critical questions from which skills to prioritize, outlining learning goals with clarity, and the power of soft skills will be asked and answered during the session today. So as we dive into this exciting discussion, it's with great pleasure that I welcome Sharath Chandra, Head of Learning and Development at Infosys BPM. Chandra brings with him over 14 years of experience in handling different leadership roles across Infosys BPM. In his current role, leading L&D strategies at the BPM subsidiary of one of the largest IT companies across India, he comes with critical expertise and experience in upskilling the workforce for an exciting and evolving business landscape. I'm also excited to welcome Minaxi Indra, President of upGrad for Business. Minaxi has almost 2 decades of business growth experience across Asia Pacific and is a purpose-driven leader, motivated by building businesses that positively impact customers and the marketplace. She leads marketing, sales, solutions, and customer success teams for upGrad for Business. Welcome, Sharath and Minaxi, on this panel today.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Pallavi, and good to have you on the panel, Sharath.
Thank you.
So in our conversation around evolving and reducing skills obsolescence today, one thing we would like to explore is the shift from LMS to LXP. So to begin with, Sharath, why do you feel this shift has happened, and why is LXP a more impactful learning investment?
Thanks for the question, Pallavi. It's very interesting that we talk about skills obsolescence and how skills are becoming obsolete. But what we also need to realize that it's just not the skills, but the way the skills are delivered, the way we deliver trainings that are constantly evolving. The traditional approaches are getting obsolete themselves. We take the example of classroom-based instructor-led programs, which are no longer the norm today. We have moved into a completely digital world with LMS being at the forefront and letting users pick the trainings that they want to learn at their own convenience and at their own time. Of course, the pandemic and the new world that we are in has changed, accelerated some of these things. And so while LMS is at the forefront today, when we look at the future, we need to accept that evolution would continue, and it would no longer be about a learning management system, but about providing experience to the user, a learning experience itself. And what LMS does is help us with the shift of moving from having a catalog of digital learning offerings, which is what LMS does, to creating customized, adaptive, personalized learning journeys. And that is the shift that we need to recognize, and we need to recognize that it's time for us to start investing in the future. And the future is all about providing learning experiences to users, to our employees. And that is why the shift is necessary the shift to move from LMS to LXP has become necessary.
And actually, any quick remarks on this shift?
So thanks, Pallavi. So I couldn't agree with Sharath more. He's articulated it very well. I would want to kind of maybe take us a bit back in time on the steps that led to the evolution of the edtech industry as we speak and the shape that we see today. I think that will give our audience a holistic view to the point that Sharath has mentioned and help us leapfrog further. So if you notice, it started way back with the invention of computers. At that time, we had what we called web-based training as the early form of edtech, where the textbook was digitized. Then the US universities popularized distance learning. The pervasiveness of the internet then brought about the massive open online courses, or the MOOCs that we know. Slowly, MOOC learning found its way to corporate learning as well. And universities started adopting technological advancements to education, and corporate learning followed suit and amplified this. This is pretty much when the LMS came into existence. In its initial days, the learning management system was originally intended as a system of record for attendance in that classroom training that we spoke about. Gradually, it took the form of hosting online content as well. And if you notice, the evolution has been fast-tracked by the last couple of years that we all underwent with the pandemic. Again, to Sharath's point, he articulated that beautifully, that the content needs to be personalized, it needs to be agile, and LMS was not able to offer that. But slowly and gradually, these gaps were filled in by learning analytics, dashboard engagement, which mimicked a bit of gamification, and that led us to the learning experience, or the LXP that we speak about. And Pallavi, honestly, you've asked us $1 million question, because companies pay millions of dollars to bring learning engagement platforms and learning experience platforms to their organizations. We can create pathways and customized learning that in turn delivers very strong business outcomes. And imagine how powerful is that when we can engage our learners in the right manner for the right reasons. When a program gets put together, it creates strong business impact. And that's my 2 cents on this one.
If I may add to what Minaxi also just added to some of the things that I mentioned, one of the biggest changes that we are seeing in today's world is that learning is no longer a top-down approach. It used to be a few years ago, until a few years ago, when the organization decided what employees learned. Now learning has become a bottoms-up approach. Every employee, every user wants to decide what he wants to learn for himself. And that is where LXPs can play a big role, because LXPs, through intelligence, of course, data analytics, can create learning pathways that are customized for individuals, personalized for individuals. And that adds to the whole experience bit, because it's all about creating experience for learning experience for employees, which would then ensure that there is engagement in learning, employee engagement in learning.
Sure. In fact, we want to specifically talk about the program that you've rolled out, in partnership with upGrad Work Better, which is ICOG-LXP, which is going to be, rolled out to thousands of learners as part of your foundation program. If you could tell us what were some of the L&D goals you wish to achieve through this learning platform.
I would like to correct you, Pallavi. It's not thousands; it's actually tens of thousands of employees that will go through this program. Foundation training is an extremely important part of Infosys BPM. Like I mentioned, tens of thousands of employees go through this program every year. Every individual that joins the organization at the junior most level goes through an extensive program to help them become ready for a corporate life. It's our corporate readiness program. And when we thought about revamping our existing program, the foremost thing that came into our minds was experience. Today, individuals join organizations, join professional life, plan careers, not because of sustenance or the need for sustenance. It's not even to have an improved quality of life. It's all about experience. From watching movies on Netflix to travel to everything that they do, it's all about experience. And as an organization, Infosys BPM wants to provide that experience throughout their professional journey with the organization. And because foundation training is the first step in that journey, we wanted to ensure that the experience starts right there. So the primary goal of moving to ICOG for our foundation training was to plan for the future. It was no longer about the present needs, it was about the future needs. We speak about the needs of Gen Z, and in a couple of years, we would have the Gen Alpha also coming into the workforce. So it was all about planning for the future, and we decided that the time for investment was apt. We needed to do something that prepares us for the future. And by future, we are talking about putting users in front, employees, giving the employees the topmost priority, and ensuring that experience is at the forefront of everything they do, including learning. So that was the primary goal. Of course, there were multiple other reasons. As an organization, we wanted to have a one-stop platform for all our requirements. We did not want to reach out to multiple platforms for analytics and for other needs assessments and so on. So what LXPs do, and especially ICOG from upGrad Work Better, gave us that option to have one single platform that took care of all our needs. So it was a win-win, both from an experience providing a user experience to our employees, as well as making our own life easy through operational efficiencies. So that was a no-brainer for us to go with this investment.
Well, as we talk about the power of LXP, it would be rather interesting to understand and know, how do we see training in terms of soft skills on LXPs? So, Minaxi, I mean, tell us how effective is it, and also what are the top 3 soft skills you see as indispensable to the future of work?
So, Pallavi, the short answer is yes. Yes, it is. LXP is very impactful for soft skills as well. In fact, while I was listening to Sharath articulate that, I was also reminded of a conversation that we were having with another of our customers, a company which is a large media house, and in the non-tech space, if I would, who came back to us and spoke to us about the direct impact that the calendarized and the self-paced learning programs had on the performance of the employees who underwent that program. And it is very powerful. I would really urge our audience and folks listening in to really intentionally start putting goals and measures to get the most out of the LXP platforms that they may either be exploring, contemplating, or might already have in their organizations. So, Pallavi, talking about the top 3 themes or pointers, I want to leave our audience with ACE, ACE, and here A stands for adaptability. In my mind, it speaks about the resilience to change. It speaks about the disruptions that we see in our professional world, the disruptions that we see in terms of technological changes as well, and more importantly, the ability to bounce back through lifelong learning, which incidentally is also upGrad's vision. The second one is communication. In the current work environment, we spend more time with our colleagues than we do with our own family members. Effective communication with our team members, our peers, our leaders, and en masse as an organization is more critical today than it was earlier. And last but not the least, leading with empathy, especially as we grow up the organizational hierarchy and as leaders and managers, is a key element when we look at companies and the cultures that they want to imbibe. Empathy is really appreciating our co-workers' professional and personal strives, keeping that in mind as we make goals and plans with them. So I'd like to leave this acronym ACE as the top 3 skills that can drive success for employees, teams, and businesses.
That is an interesting acronym, and the way you explained it, Meenakshi. So coming back to you, Sharath, given that LXP is an interesting learning intervention offering convenience and accessibility to the workforce, it would be interesting if you could share with us what has been the impact on the workforce so far, given that it will cover tens of thousands of workers annually at Infosys BPM. What has been the organizational change there?
Yeah, the biggest change that we have seen, Pallavi, is the fact that the entire approach towards learning has changed. From, I keep mentioning the traditional forms of learning, instructor-led classroom, and now what ICOG, or what the new foundation training on the ICOG platform has been able to provide employees is multi-pronged approach towards learning. So now they continue to have instructor-led programs, instructor to user interactions continue. There's no change to that. But what also has been enabled is peer-to-peer learning. Now there's an opportunity for employees to learn from each other as well. But most importantly, the third approach towards learning has been self-learning. So there is instructor to user, peer-to-peer, and self-learning. And the self-learning is happening at their own convenience, on their own device, at their own spare time. So essentially, we have democratized learning. We have enabled learning, anytime learning, anywhere learning, on any device learning, and so on. And that's what ICOG has been able to do as a first step. What these changes mean is that we have seen better retention of learning. And this better retention of learning has led to better application of learning in the day-to-day work. And all of this together has enabled better employee experience in learning, and hence better engagement in learning as well. So from the perspective of the user, and I repeat, we have thousands, tens of thousands of users going through this program, the changes have led to multi-pronged benefits for the user in terms of learning, retention, and application. And that in turn is helping the organization multifolds. But that apart, the other benefits to the L&D function itself is that now we are in a position to customize learning journeys for individuals, personalize them. We have a one-stop shop that has trainer content, facilitator content, assessments, learning analytics, all in one platform. I already mentioned this. So we do not have to work with multiple platforms and systems to get everything in place together. And of course, even from a cost benefit perspective, apart from the one-time investment from an operational efficiencies, when I look at the operational efficiencies and the long-term benefits, it is an absolute win-win both for the employee as well as the organization. So these are the benefits of going ahead with the ICOG platform.
Hey, Pallavi, if I can just add to what Sharath said. Sharath, I really found the learning, the retention, and the applicability that you spoke about very powerful and impactful. When we look at the Infosys BPM deployment, you and your leadership team have been very intentional in the kind of tens of thousands of people that you want to see go through this journey, which also entails a lot of patience, a lot of diligence at the part of an organization before you open something like this to an employee base and enterprise of your side. So I would really applaud you on the way that you put this across, and the kind of results that we're seeing out from your team, the kind of results that we're seeing from the learners is actually a testament to the intention and the thoughts that you've built in as you embarked on this LXP journey. So big credit to you on this one.
Thank you, Minaxi. We are an organization that puts learning at the forefront of everything that we do, and hence we continue to invest in providing employees with the opportunity to continuously learn throughout the journey, the professional journey with the organization.
Well, Minaxi, among the several learning partnerships launched by upGrad, this has been one of the interesting ventures in the world of learning, especially at a large scale. So if you could tell us some of the exciting moments for you throughout this learning journey from design to launch with Infosys BPM.
Sure. The Infosys BPM journey for us has been gratifying on multiple counts, and I'll try to touch on 4 aspects of this. Firstly, from the get-go, this was a high-impact program, providing an enterprise of Infosys BPM size on an LXP solution, customizing it to the different needs that Sharath has mentioned, the inputs that we received from the team, and the direct impact that it had on talent retention was really fruitful. And Sharath, feel free to kind of add in case if I'm not doing justice to the pointers here. There are enough and more research that we say that employees are more likely to stay back with an organization when they have a fantastic onboarding process. And this is what this program tried to do. In fact, we tried this with another of the companies, while for Sharath, this is more on the soft skills. We did that for a data onboarding program as well. And that was for a big 4 management consulting company. They came back to us 6 months later saying that they were able to save their organization $300,000 by virtue of this onboarding program or foundational program, if you could, by virtue of the quality of inputs that were provided to them, the employees becoming job ready, them being productive in their jobs, and a good experience all around. Next up, on the second point, for Infosys BPM specifically, as Sharath mentioned, the journey was highly customized. There were a number of reports which were also customized for participant evaluation. We automated certain features which reduced human intervention for the Infosys team, which resulted in quicker execution and better project delivery. That's the beauty of LXP: customization, rehumanization with the right amount of flexibility and indulgence of technology in the right manner. Thirdly, Pallavi, I would speak about the objective with which we came into this program. This was to evaluate the new employees pre and post their first month of foundation training. And the outcome that we were spoken of was a smooth foundation training intervention with better reporting mechanism and a higher completion percentage. This was a very clear goal that we set out. And we are glad to share that at the end of the program, within the given timeframes, we were able to hit the benchmarks and the parameters that we had set out for ourselves. The LXP was seamlessly integrated within the tight deadlines, and the entire process was handled well by a close partnership with the Infosys team and the project delivery team with upGrad Work Better. In fact, I would go as far as to say that the first batch that we did not have any massive technical glitches and had a higher passing percentage as compared to the previous year. Last and not the least, Pallavi, the project at the end was received well by the employees, by the L&D team, and by the leadership team. In my mind, that's the Holy Trinity. When you have different stakeholders across all levels of the engagement jointly coming across and speaking about the experience that they had, the outcomes that they were able to achieve, that's a true testament for a program.
Thank you, Minaxi, for articulating so well the results of the implementation of the program, the qualitative results at least in terms of feedback. But let me talk about some numbers as well. If I were to specifically talk about the key performance indicators of our foundation program, we measure the passing percentage. We also measure the first time pass. And we saw at least a 10% increase in the first time pass percentage of employees that went through the new program, which meant that the retention of learning or the engagement of employees during the learning process was much better in the new program. Another thing that we measure is the delta, the training delta between the pre and the post assessment, and we saw a marked improvement there as well. And this is not even talking about the experience bit and the satisfaction bit with regards to the new platform. So it has definitely been something that's helped the organization multifold, not just qualitatively, but even if I were to look at the key metrics, there has been significant improvement as compared to what we used to do.
Thank you.
Minaxi, actually want to add something?
I was just thanking Sharath for adding that. Coming from him, the quantification is really stunning.
Well, thank you, Sharath, for sharing those data-driven insights. But before we let you go, we really want you to share a piece of advice for our community when it comes to investing in LXPs. And what's that one thing that they should prioritize?
The one thing that I would advise my fellow L&D professionals or the L&D fraternity is to put employees, users at the forefront of everything that they do. That is, if I were to give one suggestion, one recommendation, it would be that. And of course, what this also means is that when you talk about putting employees at the forefront, we need to also realize that the employees of yesterday are not the employees of today. The users of yesterday, those who go through learning journeys or those who went through learning journeys yesterday are not the same as the ones going through today. Generations are shifting. We speak about millennials, Gen Z, now Gen Alphas, and we need to then realize that when we look at putting employees at the forefront of everything, we also need to look at ensuring that we do it for future employees. We need to plan for the future. And LMS, digital learning, all that is today. But if we are to look at the future, we need to move from learning management system to learning experience, and that comes through LXPs. Of course, I already mentioned this. The benefits are multifold, both from a user perspective and the organization, and from the perspective of the organization. You don't need to have multiple platforms. It can be a one-stop shop for everything that we do. Analytics is at your fingertips. Experience goes up. Employees are happier. Engagement is happier. Learning retention is better. Adoption of that learning, applicability of that learning is better. And hence, it's an absolute win-win. So if we are to look at the cost-benefit ratio, without doubt, it's a no-brainer. The benefits far outweigh the investment. So that would be one single advice that I would give the L&D fraternity. Please plan for the future. Please put employees at the forefront of everything that we do.
Thank you so much, Sharath and Minaxi. It was wonderful listening to both of you and learning much more about this partnership and the larger organizational impact it had on the organization and this wonderful, unique learning journey. That's all we have for today in this session, but we'll bring in more exciting, impactful takeaways on empowering your organizational growth strategies to strive in the new age economy. Thank you for being with us. Thanks once again, Sharath and Minaxi.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you, Minaxi, and thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharath, and appreciate the moderation, Pallavi.